Lovely to be back with you. Shivu, back at it with you here. The first and final part. Living out our dreams, doing it in a good and positive way, doing what we can, and enjoying life, and adding to the public discourse from an Aussie Indian perspective. Thank you all. Uh, this episode, we're gonna talk about uh, some uh, some elements surrounding what I call uh, the Aussie worldview. I am seeing things in the news and in the discourse about, um, things that might be considered un-Australian, etc. First of all, let's define what is Australian. I think like the Australian key aspects and the core tenets are, firstly, we're honest. Aussies are honest. We'd rather um, uh, n- tell the truth and look foolish than be shady and tell a lie. I think that's very much an Aussie thing and part of the embedded culture here. And I think it's also the foundational bedrock for society that's quite successful despite um, you know being geographically a little bit isolated in the historical past. You had to be honest. You had to trust your mate next door. You had to trust his word. If you look somebody in the eyes and you couldn't trust their word, there would be problems because we were all in it together. In Australia, you were far away from the nearest city. Can you imagine if you were in Melbourne and you needed to get something from Perth or vice versa? In your communication you'd have to really trust and believe in the source that whatever communication you got was the honest truth. So we operate from a place of honesty. I also think Aussies, we're triers. We're not too proud to get our hands dirty and really go out there and see what we can do. We might not be able to do everything perfect from the get-go, but it's not about being by the book. It's really not about just like being the most correct. It's about uh, favoring doing something rather than doing nothing, and having that practical and pragmatic approach. I think is like uniquely Australian in terms of we're not going to sit here and try and like be the most um, textbook correct version of ourselves. We're going to try our best and do what we can with what we have at hand. It's very much like an entrepreneurial or settlers streak that is at hand there. So I think that's very much apparent in how people operate here in the workplace. Someone might sit in other countries. I think you would sit there and you'd look at your standard operating procedure and your manuals, and you say like, okay, I'm ready to go to work now. But in Australia, it's very much like, hey, you good? You feeling all right? Okay, get on the tools. Figure out what you need to do. It's very much on the job. It's very much get stuck in and teach yourself. You know, and I really appreciate that and feel like that's something that's really ingrained in every Aussie in some way. And I think like I do fear that there will be like some kind of backpedaling on that. Like we really should do our best to try and keep these elements that are uniquely Australian as part of the ongoing journey of every Australian. Like I think kids should be brought up to be proud of that little Aussie streak that we have there. Something that's uniquely Australian that people don't get, and is that Aussies speak directly. There's no uh, fancy or very what I would say like dressed up talk in Australia. People call a spade, and and I know I've gotten that feedback a lot, especially when I'm traveling in Asia. People in India would say, "Oh, you're being so direct. You're being so direct. How can you say that?" I'm used to calling things out as they are. Like it's not me being rude or abrupt. That's me calling things as it is. I'd rather say an inconvenient truth than like live with under the guise of like some misguided attempt at being polite. That is not the way to go about it. It really is not. And if you feel that's the way, then you're misled yourself, and you're just not informed on how to go about things. It's not if you're sitting there and you're politely smiling and just saying the correct things. Are you doing a disservice to yourself? Are you doing a disservice to other people as well? Be direct, be open, be honest. Like I'll give you an example. When I was very much overweight. You know, uh, I haven't really said too much about me personally so far, but I'd lost like 27, 28 kgs in the last year. And I wish that people, I wish people had been more upfront with me in terms of like, maybe, love who you are, love how you are, but, you're carrying a little bit extra weight and, here's some tips. You try A, B, and C. We shouldn't, we should be more direct in that way. It didn't dawn on me that I was so overweight because, you have an inertia to who you are. You have an inertia to certain things, Um, I think that directness in Aussie's talk, the way we articulate ourselves is direct. It certainly came up when I was in India where people were like, how can you say that? Because I think they're far more used to just um, more decorum and more what they call respectful talk in terms of how they talk to elders or people who are more senior to them. They have a bit more of a decorum and more entrenched ideas around that. And that's something that I'm not used to. But I can see why they are like that, and I can see how that is apparent there. But I love the way that Aussies speak. I love that directness, that kind of like that innocent, truthful way that we talk, where we're not trying to upset you, we're not trying to offend you. We are saying things as they are, and you can take it and go with it, or you can be offended and be down and upset. It's really up to you. But we're gonna speak our truth, and we're gonna articulate ourselves in that way. People should be aware of that, and people. I hope that we don't lose that sense about us as Aussies. Like that is the correct way to be. I think if you're sitting here beating around the bush, are you really helping yourself? Are you helping anybody else? You know, if you're trying to flatter someone's ego with like very saucy or decorated wording, like what are you really doing? Like truly, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to mislead people? Are you trying to be a con man? Are you trying to be like some kind of roadside Romeo? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't think that's the right way to be. Say things as they are. Talk truthfully. If I can recommend that to people who aren't Australian, I'll say that's the way to speak. That's the way to be. And I'll just put that out there that I hope that we as Australians don't have that change. Like there's going to be, when you have a melting pot and you're having people from other countries and cultures come along, there will be some kind of added flair or some things being lost over time. And I just hope that that direct, honest, good-natured talk that Aussies have, I hope that we never lose it. I think that's unique to us, and it's something that we can really be appreciated for. So I just want to put that out there on the record. And once again, I want to reiterate the material here is for entertainment purposes. This is not to be taken as advice in terms of your finances, for your health, or for your wellness. This is for entertainment purposes and needs to be said again. Thanks kindly. So where to from here? Where to in the investing world? Look, what I'll say for investing is keep tabs on where the money is going. Keep tabs on who's getting buzz. Do your research. Like right now, I think that in the high-tech world that we're seeing a little bit of an upheaval. We're seeing players who have got really good learning language models and really polished products take a leap. We're seeing players who are doing things in terms of autonomous driving or semi-autonomous driving take a leap. And we're seeing those who can power and the next phase is inevitable. The AI phase is inevitable, and those who can power that in terms of chips and hardware and processing power, those people are taking a huge leap. So follow those macro trends. Follow your nose. Do your research. Go out there and see what you can find. But it's super fascinating times. I mean, they're going to look back at this phase in history and be like, these were the days when the first language models came out, when the first AI um, generated content was being made. It's an immense thing. It's an immense thing, and exciting times. And you might as well participate in it, and you might as well, economically prosper yourself from that. Um, there's nothing wrong with that at all. So go out there and do what you can. And yeah. This is something that we can redress later in time, and I'm looking forward to see how um, all of you regular individual investors do. You know, um, and that will be my cue to take a pause and to wrap it up on that topic. I want to talk about Pat Cummins. Pat Cummins, for those who aren't in Australia, Pat Cummins is the captain of the Aussie cricket team. Um, he's such an interesting character. I feel like if you've ever heard Pat Cummins speak, and there's going to be people going out on YouTube and googling that now. He talks in such a good old boy, kind of laid back and chilled out way. But there is a competitive streak in him. I find him to be an interesting character. I love the way he doesn't take himself too seriously. He's very much one of the guys. Like, traditionally the Australian cricket captain is an important position. There's an old joke that other than the Prime Minister, the Aussie men's cricket team captain is the most important job in the country. This has got such a wide reach in so many people's hearts and so many people's homes. Cricket is loved here. It's as loved as any of the popular footy codes, and it's really the uniting sport in the country. Famously, if in Melbourne, it's all about AFL, and I love AFL. AFL has got a camaraderie, and it's got a history and a cachet in Melbourne that's really treasured and an awesome thing. And then in Sydney and New South Wales, it's all about NRL. And to be honest, I followed NRL when I was in school, but I won't lie, I haven't watched NRL in about 10, 12 years. I don't have any interest in it. Just for practical reasons, I can't follow all the sports. There's not enough time in the day. And I refuse to be one of those guys who just sits around on the weekend and watches sports all weekend. That's really not for me. So NRL is one that got the cut. I don't follow that. Don't know who the teams are anymore, who the players are. But cricket is the uniting sport in this country. Cricket. And then for those who are European expats, or Serbian or Croatian and Macedonian, they really follow soccer heavily, association football. But yeah, I'd say cricket is a very high profile sport here. And Pat Cummins said something interesting. I saw the documentary he did for Amazon Prime called The Test, and he said when he was a kid, his mother came to him and said, go out there and do your best in the cricket. Because you know what? Somebody's got to go out there and do all these cool things. Somebody's got to go out there and play international sports. Somebody's got to go out there and be the CEO, and somebody's got to go out there and be a trailblazing entrepreneur and innovator, and somebody's got to go out there and be an enlightening and generational voice in media. And so I found that to be such an awesome worldview. Like, people have got to go out there and do things. Why not us? Why not us? Why can't we have that vision of like, hey, somebody's got to be the Australian cricket captain? Might as well be me. There's an audacity and there's a boldness to it, but there's a humble quality there too that I think is just really refreshing. Like, he didn't go out there and become like some very stern or hard character after becoming captain as well. He kind of just fell into the role. There was a vacancy. He fell into it. He was doing well in his job as a bowler, and he got the nod to be captain, and he's grown into it, and he's won and he's lost. But I really love that approach of like, hey, nobody really has to take themselves so seriously that if you get this position or not, it's a big win or it's a big failure. Somebody's got to go out there and do it. We might as well be the ones. We should put ourselves so that in a position where people see us in a positive light, that they see us as someone like, hey, we need a leader. It's you, man. It's you, lady. It's you, sir, or it's you, madam. So I think like there's a real beauty in that approach. Don't overtax yourself. Don't take yourself so seriously. Go out there, do your best. If you do your best, someone is gonna notice. Someone's gonna tap you on the shoulder and say like, "Hey, you're up, kid. It's your time now." So that's really what my biggest takeaway from that. I really appreciated what that lesson from Pat, because if you've ever seen a sports cap, like if you've ever seen the captain of, for example, the um, of a Man United, or you've seen like the captain of Real Madrid or something. There's a real pressure. They really have like sunken eyes, and they feel like the weight of the world on their shoulders. But I love that laissez-faire approach that Paddy Cummins is using, and it's very much a uniquely Aussie approach, I feel, and we should be proud. We should be proud. Every Aussie and everybody in this world who's trying to get ahead and or just be their best version of themselves, which I think is more important in some way. If you're the best version of yourself, like it or not, you're gonna end up being the best at something. So it's like a byproduct of just being the best version of yourself. Keep refining, keep polishing. Don't ever think that you're a finished product. This is the growth mindset. This is the growth era. This is an important phase in human history. Remember what I always say, society is made up by families. People make up good families. You're remembered by that. So yeah, that's what I'll say. That's what I'll say. People are going to come and go. Most people's lives are inconsequential in the big grand scheme of things. Not many people are going to be remembered after they die. Once your grandkids grow old, and that living memory of you passes on with them. Once your grandkids die, it's really the last living people who really knew you as a blood relative. Most people are forgotten in life, but we can be immortal. We can be immortal. We can make a lasting impact. Be the best version of yourself. Keep refining, keep polishing, keep living life the right way. I'm telling you, and I've said this before, the power of good is more than the power of bad or power of negativity. Good triumphs over evil. Good triumphs over evil, and we need to be bold. We need to be out there. We need to voice our thing. There will be clowns, there will be fools, there will be charlatans shouting the loudest and protesting the loudest. We don't need to hear them. We don't need to give them respect. Those people, they will have their eternal karma. They will have their cosmic justice. But we need to go out there and be our best. Keep improving. Keep learning. Keep polishing ourselves and living in the right way. You might not get your reward all in one dose, but you'll get it. Karmic justice is undefeated. It's eternal. And I just wanted to make that clear. And I hope I didn't mince any words. Lovely. Thanks kindly.